Please rise. The Honorable Senate enters the South Carolina House chamber.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your indulgence.
Mr. Hill, your attention. I know that's strange coming from me, but Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your indulgence. Thank you, members, and I will not take long here. Before we vote on the next judge, which is Circuit Court at Large, Seat 4, I have something I want to share with you. Someone said, justice delayed is justice denied, and justice denied is corrupt. That was a statement by one Mrs. Brenda Bryant, who sought justice for her 47-year-old disabled daughter, and who, while under the watch of this state, her daughter was raped multiple times by her caretakers and, as a result, contracted a sexually transmitted disease. Her efforts, Ms. Bryant's efforts to obtain justice for her daughter, were rewarded by unjust and retaliatory orders by Judge Ned Miller, who had her arrested and thrown into jail multiple times, not for any violent crime, but for merely refusing to pay tens of thousands of dollars in court-ordered fees to the very people responsible for protecting her daughter when she was raped. This brave woman has sought justice for her daughter from the South Carolina Supreme Court and won. Then this brave woman sought justice from the Office of the Disciplinary Counsel.
Mr. Clark, for what purpose do you rise?
I want to raise a point of order. This matter should have been taken up during the JMSC hearings and not during the vote. So I object. And I ask that Mr. Hill be seated.
I'll rule the point. The gentleman is allowed to speak to the candidate. Mr. Rutherford.
In furtherance of that objection, do we then allow speeches to endorse the judge? Because that's what this degenerates into. If we're going to allow attacks, then we're going to allow the other side to come up and talk about why we support him, and we'll be here all day when I thought that speeches to endorse were not allowed under the rules of the Joint Assembly.
I rule that the member is allowed to speak to the candidate. I rule that the member is allowed to speak to the candidate.
That's clear.
Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. My colleagues raised the issue of the Judicial Merit Selection Commission, which I'm just about to get to here. But picking up where I left off, I want to point out that this brave woman, Brenda Bryant, sought justice from the Office of the Disciplinary Counsel only to have her complaint dismissed like practically every other complaint ever filed with the ODC, which is not at all surprising since Judge Miller at the time served as a member of the ODC. Because of Judge Miller's own orders, this woman has been forced to live as a fugitive from this state, separated from her daughter for a decade. But that hasn't stopped her from seeking justice from the Judicial Merit Selection Commission, who laughed at her and spat on her complaint. And now, this brave woman, Brenda Bryant, is seeking justice from you as well. Will you give it to her, or will you laugh as well? Ladies and gentlemen, unjust judges are no laughing matter, and they have no place in South Carolina. And I ask you to give this brave woman and dedicated mother, who has suffered so much at the hands of this state, merely for defending her daughter, the justice she has so long sought. One of my favorite living intellectuals, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, put it this way: if you see fraud and do not say fraud, then you are a fraud. May we not be numbered among them. I will be voting in opposition to the nomination of the Honorable Ed Walter Ned Miller for Circuit Court at Large, Seat 4. And I invite you to do so likewise. And, Mr. President, at the appropriate time, I would like to request a roll call on this vote.
Senator Rankin.
Mr. Rankin. Mr. Rankin. Thank you, John.
This is some kind of...
Senator Mulready.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, In a Paul Harvey-like segue, I would invite this General Assembly's review of the January 14th, 2021 report on the qualifications and nominations of these candidates. Mr. Hill has made numerous statements. I would invite you to read the record.